The story begins at Ichikawa High School, located in a quiet Japanese town. Inside a classroom, senior students are reviewing the results of their latest exams. Among the students is Miyamoto Asuka, a cheerful but academically challenged girl. Despite the test being the easiest one yet, she fails to get a single answer correct and ends up with a score of 0. Her boyfriend Yoshida tries to stay positive, joking that 0 is Asuka's lucky number. However, their light-hearted moment is cut short when the teacher scolds them, warning that if Asuka doesn't start taking her studies seriously, her future looks grim. Next comes another dreaded history test for Asuka. The first question asks her to name a monument known for granting wishes when a coin is offered. Clueless about the answer, Asuka decides not to leave it blank and randomly writes down the name of a place called Gachimo. The moment she writes the name on the paper, a bright light flashes outside the window. Meanwhile, in another part of the city, a mysterious jungle path begins to form out of nowhere. The next day, Asuka and Yoshida are on their way to school when they stumble upon the mysterious path. Since neither of them recalls seeing it before, their curiosity is piqued. Unable to resist, they decide to venture in and explore it together. After walking for a minute, they come across a shrine with a name they can't quite pronounce. Asuka tosses in a coin and wishes to score 100 on her next test. They then head back to school, not giving the strange encounter much thought. They receive the results of their previous test, and Asuka scores just 5 out of 100. Frustrated, she scoffs at herself for ever believing the shrine had any power. That day, the class is given another quiz, this time on world politics. The first question asks for the name of Japan's current prime minister. Asuka has no idea, so instead of leaving it blank, she writes down Yoshida's name. Unable to answer any of the remaining questions, Asuka gives up and takes a nap instead. After school, she and Yoshida head to her house to hang out. But the moment they step inside, they're met with the sound of her parents arguing. Asuka's father, a struggling salesman, is on the verge of losing his job, while her mother is having an affair with a younger man. Trying to brush it off, Asuka tells Yoshida to ignore them and leads him to her room. Along the way, he spots empty plates and bowls placed outside a door. That's when he learns that Asuka has a twin brother named Keisuke. Keisuke had always been a top student, excelling in academics since elementary school and consistently achieving perfect scores on every test. However, everything changed the day he failed his high school entrance exam. The setback was devastating, especially since he had built a reputation as the best student. Since that day, Keisuke has isolated himself in his room, refusing to speak to anyone and spending all his time on the computer playing games. Asuka becomes downcast after bringing up her brother. Wanting to cheer her up, Yoshida heads to the supermarket to grab something for them to eat. Elsewhere, their teacher is busy grading test papers when suddenly, the shrine begins to glow, followed by a strange glow from the teacher's glasses. A little later, Asuka calls Yoshida to ask why he's taking so long. Yoshida apologizes, saying he's caught up with something important and won't be able to hang out that day. Immediately after the call, Asuka receives a message from a classmate saying that Yoshida is in serious trouble. To her shock, she discovers that he has somehow been appointed as the Prime Minister of Japan. Videos and interviews of him striking poses as the new Prime Minister are now going viral across social media. The next day, Asuka heads to school, still baffled by how her boyfriend went out for groceries and ended up becoming the Prime Minister. Rumors are also circulating about several world leaders mysteriously going missing. When the teacher arrives with the graded papers, he hands Asuka hers with a cheerful smile. To her astonishment, she has received a perfect score despite having left most of the answers blank. Upon examining her test more closely, Asuka realizes that Yoshida became the Prime Minister simply because she wrote his name as the answer. Likewise, the presidents of other countries are disappearing because she left the rest of the questions blank. The shrine had granted her wish, but in a way she never expected. Now, the world begins to reshape itself according to her answers, all to ensure she receives full marks. To fix her mistake, Asuka looks up the correct answers online and rewrites them on the test paper. Luckily, her plan succeeds and Yoshida is promptly dismissed from his role as Prime Minister, and the missing world leaders are quickly found. Everything returns to normal. It's time for the next test, and this time Asuka isn't too worried after all. She figures a math test can't change much even if she gets it wrong. Later that day, Yoshida meets up with her and shares how he ended up getting fired. Asuka reassures him, then decides to reveal the truth about her strange new power. Yoshida is skeptical and asks her to prove it by writing something down. But before she can, a tower in the middle of town begins to wobble, an unexpected consequence of a mistake she made on the math test. The couple rushes to the teacher's office and quickly corrects the error, which causes the tower to return to its normal state. Meanwhile, even experts on TV are left baffled, unable to explain what made the structure wobble in the first place. On their way home, Asuka and Yoshida visit the spot where the shrine once stood, only to find it has completely disappeared. Since they can't recall its name, there's no way to find it again. Now, the only hope to save the world is for Asuka to study hard and answer every question correctly. Determined to give it her all, she sits down to study that night but soon falls asleep after just a few minutes. In the next scene, Asuka and Yoshida are standing outside the teacher's room, patiently waiting for him to finish grading the latest test papers. As expected, Asuka receives full marks, but she hopes she hasn't caused any major changes in the world. When she returns home, her father greets her enthusiastically, celebrating the biggest sale of his career. Unbeknownst to Asuka, she had written in her last test that tap water is the most valuable source of energy, which led to a surge in water purifier sales and a big boost to her father's business. She panics briefly, but seeing her father so happy, she chooses to leave things as they are for the time being. Later that day, news breaks of widespread water-related riots erupting across the globe. As the situation spirals out of control, Asuka quickly amends her test answers, restoring the world to its normal state. Suddenly, she comes up with an idea to use her power to fix her parents' marital issues. In the next test, when asked the name of the astronaut scheduled for a long space mission, she writes down her mother's boyfriend's name. The very next day, he is sent to space, which leads to him breaking up with her mother. After her mother's boyfriend leaves, Asuka begins to focus more on her family and her father's happiness. Life seems to improve for her. Now, the only person she wants to help is her twin brother, Keisuke. In the next test, she writes that Keisuke will come out of his room and greet everyone with a cheerful good morning. The plan backfires because, instead of Keisuke coming out on his own, their father storms into his room and drags him outside. This sparks a major family argument. It's revealed that her father is once again facing the threat of being laid off, while her mother has begun texting other men. Asuka finally realizes that using her power to fix her problems is only a temporary solution. She begins genuinely trying to connect with her brother. Knowing he's still a brilliant student, she sits outside his door each day, studying aloud. Although she makes many mistakes that annoy Keisuke, he refrains from correcting her for several days. Then one day, when Asuka tries to skip a difficult math problem, Keisuke speaks up for the first time and tells her how to solve it. With her brother's help, she begins studying more diligently, even though he only communicates with her from behind the closed door. Gradually, her father begins reading books about sales techniques and works harder, while her mother deletes all her lover's numbers from her phone to focus on the family. A week later, Asuka achieves full marks on a test all on her own. Excited, she rushes to share the news with Keisuke, but he still refuses to open the door. The next morning, Asuka and her parents are gathered around the dining table enjoying breakfast when, to their surprise, Keisuke comes downstairs and greets them. He apologizes to his father for giving up and promises to try harder from now on. Later, on their way to school, Asuka and Yoshida find the first test paper tucked inside Asuka's bag, the one she had torn up after scoring only 5 out of 100. She pieces the torn test paper back together, revealing the path to the shrine. That's when she realizes that her very first answer mentioned a wish-granting shrine called Gachimo, the same shrine that must have magically appeared. The couple rushes to the shrine and pleads for the wish to be undone, hoping to restore the world to normal. They wait anxiously for a change but are disappointed when nothing happens. Back at school, the teacher hands out another test, this time on world geography and population. Suddenly, Asuka recalls that the shrine granted her wish only because she offered a coin. To reverse the wish, she realizes she must retrieve that coin. She hurriedly finishes the test and rushes to get it back, only to find the coin locked inside a chest. Using a stick, she tries to fish the coin out and nearly succeeds. Meanwhile, elsewhere, Keisuke and his parents are discussing his future. He feels relieved to have overcome his slump and is looking forward to what lies ahead. His mother also apologizes for the troubles she caused her husband. In one heartfelt conversation, the family finally resolved their differences. At the same time, Asuka's teacher is grading the latest test and, as usual, she scores a perfect 100. Meanwhile, Asuka accidentally drops the coin back into the chest. Suddenly, the coin emits a bright light that shines on her. Moments later, the shrine stands empty. Actually, the entire city, country, and world are deserted, as if all humans have vanished without a trace. In the final scene, it's revealed that Asuka left the last question on her recent test unanswered. The question asked for the current world population, and because she left it blank, humanity ceases to exist. And that's where the story ends. If you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Also hit the notification bell to get updated on every video that we upload. Thank you and have a great day.